Welcome to episode 8 of the 200 Movie Challenge. So we took a week off, mainly because I was on vacation, but, we had a nice week break, where we didn't have to watch as many movies. We knew this was going to happen. Some, weeks would be a little bit lighter than not, but it's kind of weird, getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, actually watching movies again. Yeah, especially with the Oscars and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Oscars in just a moment, but I just want to mention. I know last time we recorded, I was a little bit exhausted. Was working a lot, and I actually watched a movie the same day we recorded, and I don't like doing that because I like sitting and thinking. But I just want to bring something up real quick. Yeah, because I watched Jay and Silent Bob reboot right before we
Yes.
recorded. Which, and there's one thing I'm going to say. It wasn't a bad movie. I just, I phoned in the review. There's what? 8, 9 movies with Jay and Silent Bob. Let's see. 3 Clerks, Jason 8. Either way, it wasn't bad, but it's the worst movie there is with Jay and Silent Bob.
Did you recommend it to me?
Because because you know what, you kind of just need to see it. But I'm just saying, after you see it, you're gonna be like, you've gotten this far with Jay and Silent Bob. It's like you almost need to see it. Like Clerks 3 to me was a better
sold
ending.
It to me.
I know, and I'm sorry, but it's not. It's a C. There's nothing wrong. I'm not saying this is like a bad movie. It was still like number 10 on my list. So it's that's saying something. His movies are good. I'm talking about the Jay and Silent Bob movies. They're all good. I'm not saying like Jay and Silent Bob reboot was an F, but I put it at a solid C. And that's where it's at. But because the other ones are just so fucking good. So anyhow.
Yeah, the movies or the other
No,
skew
just as Jay and Silent Bob movies. The Clerks,
Okay.
the Mallrats. That's the universe I live in with Kevin Smith. I don't live in this other universe. To me, it doesn't exist. I'm just talking about those movies.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
no. Don't get me wrong. This is better than Cop Out. This is better than a lot of the other shit Kevin Smith has done. I'm just talking about that New Jersey one that Jay and Silent Bob has been in. The Clerks, the Dogma, all that shit. But yes, I've now told myself to never review a movie until after, because I like sitting for a day thinking about it. But I just want to bring that up.
Yeah. You got to let it marinate, and you got to let your brain kind of figure it out. Oftentimes I'll come back and I'll be like, I'll be in the shower and go, yeah, I didn't like that as much as I did the first time around.
Yeah, and
water.
Especially when I'm in a mail truck, I think a lot. So, but Soto, you mentioned the Oscars this past week. You actually watched the Oscars. I didn't. We're not going to get into
well. let me give a disclaimer here. Okay.
Okay.
I did watch the Oscars.
You did.
It did. I also was inebriated.
Yeah.
During the Oscars. I may have fallen asleep during parts of it. But I woke up during important parts. So yeah, I saw the Oscars and I was kind of there, but I was kind of drunk.
All right, but either way, you planned on seeing it. I didn't plan on seeing it, but as this week was going on, it made me think of something I thought about doing in the past. And I know I'm not going to go through everything, but Soto, my first movie, I went back to 1927 and watched the very first movie to ever win Best Picture. I'm talking about a silent film named Wings. 1927. This is officially the oldest movie. I had a look on Letterboxd. Officially the oldest movie I have ever seen. This is older than Steamboat Willie, which I know is only a 5 or 6 minute short, but I still clicked on that shit. Yeah.
I feel like I know this.
So, yeah, because before I get into the movie Wings, I did collect a lot of Best Picture winners, and I stopped probably around 2013, 2014. I don't own them all, but I'm like, I kind of want to watch every Best Picture in order. I'm not going to do that. I might do a couple more this year for the fun of it.
Hell, man.
I know, there's a lot of shit ones, and, a lot of ones I've seen and loved, but I'm like, I just need to know why this movie won Best Picture. Now, so there's a lot to this, and if you don't know, not like everyone's going to know what the fuck the movie Wings is about. Obviously,
no idea.
No, it is 2.5 hours. So I was like, can I get through this? That was a good question for me. Like, I am going to do this, but it's a World War I movie, and obviously for its time, and there's a lot of things I'm going to say. You're like, hey, I kind of know. I've heard about these kind of stories before, because again, the war tropes and stuff like that. I'm not going to say it's started on this, but there's a lot of things you're going to recognize has happened in a lot of different war movies. So first things first, Soto, it is on Tubi. So I was like, all right, I'm going to watch it on Tubi.
That explains it.
Yeah, well, I also own it. Now, I'm going to mention some. I do, because, they restored it back in like 2012 or something like that. And I'm going to get back to that in a moment, and you'll understand why. But yeah, so it is a silent film. It is black and white. Basically, it stars a small town, this guy, Jack, he's the, small town. He wants to fight in the war. He wants to fly the planes. He wants to be a pilot. He wants all the fame and glory. And so he's going to enlist. And also in the small town is this guy, David, who's from the wealthiest family. So he wants to enlist too. So, these two obviously start kind of, they're kind of, I don't want to say enemies, but they don't like each other, because they both want to be the best. And there's also, so they become friends as the time goes on, because they both enlist. They have this huge boxing match. And then they kind of respect each other. They're like, okay, we both like certain things together. Sorry. I know that doesn't make sense. But you know how it is. Two guys who don't like each other find a common ground, and then they like each other and become best friends.
Sure, yeah.
They both like the same girl. Now, the main guy, Jack, thinks this girl, Sylvia, likes him. But her heart's with David. So again, now you got that love triangle. Except now there's this other girl, small town girl, Mary, who has eyes for Jack. So there's all this love going on. So, yeah, the story was actually pretty interesting, but I will tell you what took me out of this movie, Soto. Now, there's no sound effects in this, and they recycle the same music every 12 to 13 minutes. And it's all this, it's a good musical score, but then it's just too upbeat. Come to find out, I think if I would have watched my DVD, I would have seen the restoration of added sound effects and music. Because, when scenes are being serious, you kind of want to change the pace of music. But yes, it was the same. I think I timed it, with my claw. I was just looking. 12 to 13 minutes. It would end and then go again. And it's this upbeat. And every time it started, I kind of jokingly would start bobbing my head. But Soto, it took me out of the movie. That being said, everything else about this movie, this is probably the first silent movie I think I've seen. Mm-hmm. It's actually a pretty good movie for what it is. You got to take the fact that when it was made, the flight scenes were well done for 1927. Mm-hmm. They actually had an aerial camera, like they had some stunt pilots, I guess. I kind of was reading up on this, and they would put it in the front of the cockpit, so that's how they got some of these, what they call amazing shots, which I don't know if they're amazing, but again, I think about 1927.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, second half, there's an intermission. The intermission came up, so I had to laugh my ass off. It was like a 2-minute intermission. I don't know if they cut that, but like it popped up on my screen. I'm like, wait, do I just go to the bathroom now? What do I do? The second half, it got a lot better when they kind of got into the war more and got into the story. But I was reading up. There are some interesting things. This is the first movie that had nudity. First movie that got like feature release, full on movie, movie studio release.
Like
and it was very
movie?
brief. It was very brief. I wasn't even sure it happened because the girl next door, is trying to save Jack, because they're like, all pilots need to come back. They think they're on leave, and he's just drunk off his ass. And she's trying to get him to go. He's passed out on the bed, but then that's when she finds out he likes someone else. And she's just going to leave, rip up the letter, but she puts the letter aside. She changes back into her uniform, but as she does, the military police come in. So it looks like she had sex with him. And because of that, she got sent home. But they let him kind of go back. He has no idea. He had no idea this happened because he was drunk off his ass. So, yeah. So as she was changing, it was so brief. I'm like, wait, was that what I thought it was? I didn't really care to rewind it, but as I was reading, yes, it was. I'm like, oh, okay. Second, this also, from what I found out, had the first, though it's not gay kiss, a man-on-man kiss, because Yeah, these two guys become best
1927.
friends, and what happens is,
Oh,
as they're one of the final battles, and I'm going to go to the end of this because I don't want to really get into it too much. Um, David gets shot down behind enemy lines. Everyone's firing at him. He kind of swims away, so everyone thinks he's dead. The Germans send notice that they killed this pilot, and Jack is so pissed that they killed his best friend that he gets in the plane during this war. He's going like basically Top Gun Maverick crazy, just trying to take down everyone. And he's going back to the base. Now, in this time, David's not dead. He steals an enemy plane and he's heading back to the base. Jack sees this and Jack shoots down David. He obviously somehow survives the plane crash because story reasons. And then, he's like, I'm sorry I didn't know it was you. You're my brother. And then he kind of gives him a kiss before he dies. So, I guess from what I read, that was the first male on male kiss. So, I'm sorry, what?
Did he kiss him on the lips or?
Yes. Yes. But it didn't come
Wow.
out. As I'm watching it, it doesn't come off as homosexual. But in that time, yeah, they said it was you could tell it was a friendship kiss. Like, he loved him as a brother. Yeah, so it was as much of a bro kiss as can be. But so I'll be honest, I did enjoy this for what it was. I will say that I will not watch this again. Though I am now intrigued to find out that there's actual music sound effects to this restoration, so maybe. But the story was actually pretty good. Him being drunk was freaking hilarious. A lot of these actors and actresses are really good. But yeah, 2.5 hours listening to the same music every 12 minutes. Really wore me
hours,
the fuck out. But if it wasn't for the music, Soto, like if and I don't know much history about silent films. If it wasn't for the music, like if they changed the music for the scenes, I don't even care about the sound effects. But yeah, like during the dancing scenes, they're upbeat. During the intense, like if they would have changed the music, I probably would put this higher on my list. But I think this is the original way to watch it, so I'm kind of glad I did. But man, it took a toll on me after a while. Like it was stuck in my head, and I'm like, this shouldn't be happening. But I can respect a lot of the shots they did, the cinematography for that time again. With the aerial pilots, it was amazing what they did. So I did like it. I'm not gonna say this is high up on my list, but it is kind of at number 14, right under Terrifier. So it's like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's just not a movie I am gonna watch again. I'm gonna say that right now. But
I don't even like movies that have words in it that last that long.
I know. But I had to see it. I had to know why this movie won Best Picture, and I come to find out there was only 3 movies nominated that year. Like that's how it started off. Like there's like 10 categories. I guess this also won like best engineering something effects, which I don't know what that was. Maybe best sound effects that turned into. But yeah, so like I said, the story, the love story, you see typically in a lot of war movies, the love triangles or love squares, whatever you want to call it. Overall, like I said, it wasn't bad. I just think the music took me out of this so much. So, but yeah,
especially after watching modern movies your whole life. And then you're watching this where the music repeats over and over. I've said it before. Most people can deal with bad movies. Movies looking bad, but it's tough when a movie doesn't sound great. I don't know if I could watch a movie like that for 2.5 hours. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to do it again. I was just more mad at the fact that I saw that they had versions with like the music. They added not just sound effects, but music to it. And it goes with the scenes. And I'm like, I probably would have enjoyed it more. But in a way, I think this was the original one. Because, back in that time, you just got that piano player just going at it. But yeah, it took its toll. So it's higher up than it probably should be because of the music. But like I said, the story was there for its time. It's there. And if you're a huge film fan, you want to get to film history, definitely watch it. But yeah, you're not going to watch it again. Like I said, it was 2.5 hours. I was a little worried after like 15, 20 minutes, but it started getting good. And like I said, the main actress, though she, it's 2 main guys, but the main one, she was really good in this too. Like I think she carried this film. But that was the weird thing about silent films too, because there's no dialogue. So they had to do a little bit over dramatic expressions with their faces and everything else. So, like, you could tell what's going on, even though the dialogue's not there. But so I will say this. This might be a teaser. This might not be the last silent film I watched this year. I think I might be doing one more. Because I'm curious. Well, here's the thing. If you remember back in 2012, the movie The Artist, I never saw that. And that's a silent film outside of, like, I think one line. I don't know too much about it. I don't know too.
Well, you're gonna probably find that it's a lot more. The sound
modern.
is probably a lot better.
So I kind of want to see how they went from 1927. This movie's almost 100 years old, which is crazy to think. But yes, I know it's not your definition. But it's funny. Tubi like suggested a few, other silent films of that era because I watched it, and then I'm seeing Charlie Chaplin, a Sherlock Holmes thing. I'm like, all right, I don't know if I'm going to get to that. I don't know if I'll put myself through that again. But I do, because I'm going on this Best Picture kick, maybe I might see The Artist. I don't know, but I might, so.
But yes. I was looking at the last, 5 Oscar winners. I have no idea what they are. Because they were going over the last 5. Actually, Oscar winners going back to 2018. It was shocking how many I have not seen. And how many that I had not even heard about. And we'll get to that list at a different time. But I'll probably try to go. For me, I'm trying to find out the shit that I haven't been watching recently. Obviously, I know with Lawrence Arabia, I've been trying to watch Lawrence Arabia since I was probably 21 years old. So that was nice to get off the thing. But I don't know, silent films.
It was
brave,
definitely,
man.
It was, and I wanted to take that chance. I was willing to, but like I said, the movie is good for what it is and for its time. But the music just took me out of it. So it was tough. But like I said, just the people, the acting, everything else was good, and that's why I can't really fault it. But yeah, it was brutal for 2.5 hours. After the intermission, and the film reel change, because that was kind of flipping me out too, because they actually had to show, the change in so the movie kind of paused, and I'm like, what's going on? But the music kept going, so I was actually confused for a second. Then you see that film burn, and then it goes. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, because this is so fucking old. It's the only way they can record this shit. So it was hilarious, but yes. It was good, and this might change, go up one, go down one as I think about it. But I kind of like where it's at because, like I said, a lot of it was good. Just the music was horrible. That's kind of just the review right there.
Wings. Awesome. Cool.
Yeah. But Soto, give me 1 second here because I'm gonna have to blow my nose before I start this next one. I might edit this out.
It's the magic of editing. That's why we're not doing this live.
Well, the full episode probably we'll see, but then the mini ones. But anyhow, Soto, last week I got a challenge for a movie. Now, the ongoing joke for us that we've kind of made throughout the series, for you, on me, is will there be a movie worse than Under the Bed? Now, we talked about this last week because I'm like, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, but I'm like, I might just go on Tubi and find something. I don't purposely look for the shit movies. I just take a chance. Maybe it's a hidden gem, or maybe it is shit. You never know. But last week we had we recorded on the PlayStation, so my wife was listening, to our conversation, and afterwards talking about Under the Bed and will I see anything worse. And she came up with an idea. She's like, I want you to see the movie I consider the worst movie ever. And I'm like, I hope I haven't seen this because I got to see this. So, Soto, I watched this movie just called Killer Movie from 2008. Mm-hmm. It's just called Killer Movie.
Wow.
Killer Movie.
And it wasn't at Blockbuster. We never saw this at Blockbuster, huh?
I don't think so. Yeah, unless it was straight to video.
That's
I don't.
Era, right?
It is. It's a horror comedy. It was only an hour 15 minutes. I had to watch this on Pluto, so yeah, the short time was great. I loved it. All right, so let's get ready for this. So yeah, this stars Kelly Cuoco, who people will know from Penny as Big Bang Theory. It also
Yeah.
stars, I don't know her name, but she leads Chicago Med. So this had a lot of stars before they got famous. I say that, but technically, Big Bang season 1 released in 2007. This got released in 2008, and I'm curious if they tried to release this because of her star power at that time. I say star power; it was season 1, but she was became more of a known face. I know she had like 8 simple rules for dating my daughter. But
Yeah.
anyhow, so this movie starts out, and first of all, let me tell you something. Do you remember what was big in the mid 2000s all over TV? Reality TV. Everything was reality TV, reality
Yeah.
competitions,
Yeah. Yeah.
reality shows. It was everywhere. That's what this movie kind of is. It makes fun of reality TV while being
What?
reality TV. So hold on,
God.
I'm gonna kind of quickly read to you the first things. Basically what the first thing that pops up on the screen from this movie. In 2008, a reality television crew was dispatched to a small town in North Dakota to cover the story of an underdog high school hockey team on their way to the state finals. One by one, members of the cast and crew went missing. So that's kind of the quick premise. So
Hey. Wow.
what
Yeah.
happens is, though, they treat the movie ends up being reality because as things are happening, like it will pop on the screen their faces as they're commentating on the movie, but not what they're recording, and it was so fucking confusing.
That is terrible.
It is. This is very. So it starts after that. It gets into the first kill. Like this girl who's dating the star hockey player. They're closing up shop. She's riding her ATV around just to make sure. And you see this guy in a mask. You're like, okay, here it comes. And he's putting barbed wire up, like almost like where she's writing. I'm like, oh, I've seen this kill in Friday the 13th. I think it was like 3 or 4, where she's gonna run through the wire and her head gets cut off. Lo and behold, she runs through the wire and her head gets cut off. Very funnily, comically.
Right.
It's bouncing across. I started laughing. I was like, okay, this is how this movie's gonna be. I got this. And so what happens is, yes, this crew is there to talk to these hockey players about this underground thing, underdog thing that's happening. They're making the state finals, which, by the way, the name of this hockey team is called the Gold Diggers. I'm going to say why this is why this is a bad name in a little bit. But as they are talking to the hockey team, they find out about this murder. So the producer's like, hey, we should ask him about the dead body. Let's research this. The director's like, well, I kind of like the story of the underdog, team. This is going to be great. They're like, no one cares about that. So yes, they're trying to figure things out, but as they're doing it, members of this crew is dying one by one. Now, Kaylee Cuoco plays this actress named Blanca. Not from Street Fighter, Blanca. Jill this whole time thought it was Bianca. I'm like, nope, we just watched this. It was Blanca, Blanca, Blanca. And she's like this famous,
Blanca.
she's a famous celebrity, and she's there to research her next role. So she's kind of there, but they have to, maintain her to not go off in public, so they're kind of babysitting her. That's just the quick premise there. But yeah, she's like the famous Hollywood person. And so, yes, people are dying one by one. Everyone's in love with like the high school cheerleaders are looking up to her. They're all trying to want her autograph and stuff like that. And yes, everything. So one guy gets killed because he asks like the gym teacher's like, hey, can I use your equipment? I want to do a workout. And he's like, yeah, it's upstairs. Just turn off all the lights. And obviously he after a stupid chase scene he dies. But then he pops up on screen and kind of says, maybe getting that last minute workout was not such a good idea. I don't know where this movie was trying to go. It was trying to be a comedy or a very bad horror movie, Soto.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, is it supposed to be funny?
I think it is, but it's not. I laughed at the bad kills. Like, I kind of said it Under the Bed. The thing that Under the Bed had going for it was those kills were practical, done well, and shocked the living shit out of me. Because it took an hour for anything to happen, and I wasn't expecting that. So when it happened, I was like, oh, damn, this is good. And then the movie got shit again. This one had just very bad kills, where the blood splatter hits the camera, and something just happens like it doesn't matter. So I don't know. It is called a horror comedy, but it's not scary, and it's not funny. So, yes, they're trying to figure out, is it the guy who just got released from like the mental asylum who got released from this? Is this the dad of the hockey player because he wants his son to be able to go on and go to a great college, and that's why the girl died. So everything's just happening. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm just gonna cut to the end because I'm not gonna try and bore the shit out of you. And I was so checked out in this movie anyway. So yes, there's a lot of running around. Kaylee, Blanca, is like trying to help this. Yeah, I have to call her Blanca because it's so fucking hilarious to me. She's trying to help this little boy, and turns out, yeah. So the final chase, he's trying to kill her, and she takes off the mask, and for some reason, it's the sound guy because he's obsessed with her. So he just is in love with her. No reason, bad reveal, but no matter who they revealed, whatever. And the director just happened to come around the corner and shoot him 3 times, like with a fucking shotgun rifle, whatever. So I'm gonna say rifle. I don't think it was a shotgun. And so now they're at the end scene. This is really what I want to get to, Soto. So they're at the end. All the cops are there. They got the killer. And Blanca's sitting there with the lead hockey guy, and he looks at her and he's like, is it all worth it? Is the fame all worth it? And the director is looking where the body bag is, and for some reason he gets up, goes to the body bag, unzips it. It's empty. So I don't know how no one saw someone get out of a body bag, and there's a bulletproof vest there. So I'm like, all right, they put him in a body bag. He disappeared. He just walked away because they do that cutout shot, like, the director's alone at the body bag. Like, what the fuck's going on? And so, yes, the weird part is the hockey player asks her this, and she does this sheepish smile, and then it ends. It ends. So I was like, wait, was she in on it? Did she set this up because she just wanted to make something happen so she would be like the sympathetic actress? And that's it. So yeah. So this.
Oh my god, that sounds.
So here was the question I pondered for almost 2 days, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to talk this out because first of all, I sure. went in Under the Bed with no expectations. I just said, hey, I want a quick horror movie. Whatever happens, happens. It ended up being shit. Like I said, the acting was bad. Everything was bad except for those 2 or 3 kills in it. I was like, okay. So then I'm looking at Killer Movie. Obviously, my expectations were very low because my wife said, hey, this is the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, okay. So obviously, the expectations were lower. And because of that, like I said, I think I laughed at the kills, which weren't meant to be funny, but I'm just like, yeah. I don't know why. Now, I will say the acting was better in Killer Movie, but that's saying like Under the Bed was F, this was D-. So I'm not saying either one. I don't know how they had, because there's a few other faces that I felt like I recognized from other things. Mm-hmm. I don't know where to go with this because at least Killer Movie.
What does your heart say?
It's not the worst. What is your gut? It's not the worst. It's right above Under the Bed. Because
that's it. That's it.
Because and that's where I place it, mainly just because as bad of an execution of a story, it had a friggin' story. Whereas Under the Bed, just like, hey, we're just gonna make shit up, and you're just gonna enjoy these few kills and pretend nothing else happened. And so, I swear to God, Soto, if there's one movie like at the end of the year, if we get close to the end of this and Under the Bed is still worse, I think you need to watch it. I think you do if it stays at the bottom. Well, no, I'm not saying anything.
Either way, whatever ends up being worse than Under the Bed, I'll watch. And if it's Under the Bed, then I'll watch Under the Bed.
But yeah, so
that'll be like our end of year extravaganza.
We'll see. But like I said, both these movies are shit. They're beyond shit, just for different reasons. I did like the fact that Kaylee Cuoco was dropping the F-bomb like mad. I'm like, oh, that's not petty, like, or maybe it is, but it's just obviously a PG show. So I laughed at that, but yeah, there's more structure in this than Under the Bed, and I say that very loosely because there wasn't much. It was, like I said, they bounce around from reality TV to a documentary to, just a murder mystery to a love story. I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? I can see why my wife said this is the worst movie she's ever seen. I do not doubt that. To a lot of people, this is shit. But they have not seen Under the Bed. So
You're like, was it a really bad movie? Watch Under the Bed. That movie is not even a movie.
I mean, let's put it this way: this is under Lift, and I hated Lift because there was nothing new, nothing that they brought to the table which excited me. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, no, this is easily. I think this places it at number 19, but this is second to last. These two will be in the bottom. I don't know. I had high expectations for Killer Movie being worse. I wanted it to be worse, Soto. I couldn't do it. It was so close though, and I was sick. I was sick watching this movie, so that should have just put an exclamation point in this. But yeah, um, I did enjoy the kills better and Under the Bed. I just felt like there's a lot more story, as much as they didn't put it together in Killer Movie, because Under the Bed made no sense to me, no sense. But anyhow, I'm going to tell you before we get to your movies next week, I'm going to watch some decent movies. I feel like I have a couple. I'm like, I need to watch some happy movies, something that's good, because I've watched so much shit recently. From Wings, like I said,
Yeah,
Wings isn't shit. It's just, for its time, not that I would rewatch. Killer Movie. So anyhow, Soto, let's get to you. I'm done ranting. Um, it's been a couple weeks. Let's talk. What was the first movie that you saw this week?
so the first movie that I saw this week is actually the newest movie that I've pretty much ever seen. And to go along our whole theme, we've talked about Robert Eggers pretty much this entire time we've been talking about movies. I've talked about how much I like Robert Eggers, and I've seen obviously The Northman, which is on my list at number 8, I believe.
Which is our most watched
And
video out
so,
of the series so far, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
no, I saw that. I didn't understand why, but okay. So to continue going on my Robert Eggers thing, I wanted to watch Nosferatu, and I'd seen um, obviously the trailers for it, and I was like, okay, I can get behind this. It looked cool. And I'll be honest with you, I thought this was pretty good. Um, I actually thought it was better than The Northman. I'm not ranking it yet, but I've seen all of his movies now. I've seen The Witch, I've seen The Lighthouse, I've seen The Northman, and now I've seen Nosferatu. And Nosferatu really just kind of felt like old, I don't want to say old school, but kind of that Robert Eggers vibe and style that he had in The Witch and The Lighthouse, where it was just a lot of use of great like light and shadow, and it was great shots. I love the cinematography. I loved how there was a lot of kind of what do we call them? Actually, uh, like the effects where it's like actually not CG, if that makes sense. Practical.
Yeah,
That's the word I'm
practical
looking
effects.
for. So there's practical effects in there. It was great. Just had overall great vibe. And I enjoyed it very much. And again, it just felt it made the Northman or Northman, I can't decide how I want to say it. It made it seem like that one was the least visually interesting. And I'm not trying to get killed on this, but I had no problem with the Northman. It is, a friend of mine made this reference the other day, and it's true, where it's kind of just dark Lion King. But it feels the most kind of like normal movie that Robert Eggers has done, and it does its thing and it gets out, but it didn't have that Robert Eggers style that I originally liked in The Witch. And I'm really liking The Lighthouse more than I think about it. Like the more I think about Lighthouse and the more I think about that movie was really pretty good. But this one was good. I thought Lily Rose Depp was awesome in this. I thought she was really good in this actually. Um, If you're watching this at home, I would recommend putting on subtitles. Cause I'll tell you right the fuck now, I couldn't understand a goddamn thing Count Orlok was saying, who's played by Bill Skarsgård, I want to say. And at time like I get it, like they're doing the obviously the Dracula thing, but his voice and acting was so over the top that I struggled understanding what he was saying. So definitely recommend subtitles. I think it takes away from it. Um, but overall, yeah, I was very impressed. This is a movie I would probably buy. It definitely feels
Ooh.
modern. I'm excited to see what Robert Eggers does in the future with his next werewolf movie and all the other stuff he's got going on. So, um, yeah, so overall, I was very good. I'm happy it was free. If I could make one complaint, and it's the complaint that I always make, and I'm gonna make again later, it just could have been a little bit shorter. That's all.
How long was it?
It was like 2 hours and change. Now I think that on
Oh,
Peacock they had the fucking director's cut or some extended cut, which I didn't ask for. Just give me the damn movie. I didn't ask for any extra. I've never seen this movie. I don't know if I want extra. But you know, at times, it can feel like it drags. So I guess the big question is, where does this rank?
that is a big
So now
question.
that I'm looking now, and I'm doing this right here, and I'm ranking it up, and where would I put it? You know what? It's actually pretty easy to rank. I'm gonna put it above Terrifier 2 and put it at number 5.
All right,
I
top
think
five
that
movie.
it's a top 5 movie, man. It's got way more like craft to it than Terrifier 2 does. It's an extremely well done movie. I enjoyed it, the vibe much more than The Northman. And yeah, this is a top 5 movie that I've seen this year. Very well done. Ending was great. Acting was great. Willem Dafoe, awesome as always. I would definitely recommend this if you're into if you're into vampires and you're into that gothy kind of vibe and all that stuff. You got to watch this.
No, look, it looked cool. Excuse me, I don't know what just happened there, and I don't know. It's one of those movies like I think I might see, but I'm not rushing to see. But
Like Halloween, like if you're looking for like a good Halloween movie and you see that it's free, watch it. If it's like the season, and I don't know how much you like Halloween, or I don't know if you
oh,
get
I don't
into it
mind
as
it.
much as I do, but like it's a specific like Halloween is my favorite holiday, and people call me a psychopath for saying that. That's fine. It just is what it is. Both Sarah and I love Halloween, and if you're in that kind of like it's turning into fall and you're in a mood, you want to see something spooky for Halloween, this is an excellent movie. Just use the subtitles.
So you said something which brought me back to Killer Movie. Now you're gonna see where this is fucking going. I forgot to mention this, and there's one thing I want to mention. Soto, that movie came out in 2008. Do you know there's a I watched it was the director's cut that was released in 2021. I forgot I wanted to mention this. It's in my notes. I just think
Watch
I got lost
First
in all the
Cut.
other shit. Who now I wondered if that was because it was Big Bang's last season and they were just kind of
Like the
cashing in.
Snyder Cut.
There's a director's cut. And that's technically what I watched. But yes, I had a laugh. 2021, 13 years later, of a shitty movie, there is a director's cut. It didn't make it any longer. Like I said, it was just an hour, maybe cut time, because I think I saw somewhere it was an hour and a half, and this is an hour 15. Anyhow, I had to bring that up because I find that fucking hilarious. That killer
I
movie
just
has a director cut.
the only explanation is that they were trying to make their money back from that disaster. Because I mean, if we didn't even have that at Blockbuster, and then we didn't rent it as one of our 7 free movies, like what the hell does that say?
Yeah, I don't know because like I've always said, I usually max out my rentals. I've always saw the new ones. So even a lot of the shit ones, some of the direct, I don't think I could have seen every direct to video one, but I definitely saw quite a
A lot,
few. And I
a
don't
lot.
recall this movie at all. I don't recall like the cover. Like I saw this cover, obviously. I'm like, it did not spark anything in my brain. So, I do not want to get back into Killer Movie. It was too much. It was painful. I just had a laugh. I wanted to bring that up because you mentioned it. There is a director's cut. So let's move on, Soto. What was the next movie you
Hmm?
decided to watch while I was on vacation?
So I'm big into martial arts movies. I love martial arts movies. I like the big ones. I consider, and this might be a surprise to you, but I consider Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon to be a top 10 movie for me.
I
I
like it.
just feel it's one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen. I saw it in film school by myself in the theater, and I just watched it there, and I just was blown away. It was the best movie for me to see at the time in a movie theater because it was just beautiful to watch. And so I've always liked martial arts movies that are those big fantasy movies where they're on wires, and I like brutal martial arts movies like Tony Jaa and like Ong Bak and all that. And then I love Donnie Yen. I just love all martial arts. I just think it's one of my favorite genres. Um, so I decided to watch this movie that was recommended to me called Shadow. Came out in 2018. Now, this is directed by the same director as Hero, which had Jet Li, and then also House of Flying Daggers, which is a beautiful movie. Okay. Now, the thing that's in common with both of these movies is that they are some of the most amazingly colored, like just use of color, like gorgeous visual movies that I've ever seen. It's just you see it and it's like the reds are red, the blues are blues. You know, these really grand kind of fantasy martial arts movies. Crouching Tiger wasn't really like that, but it was just over the top. I love House Flying Daggers, and it's one of my favorite movies that I have in my collection. But the director is Zhang Yimou, I want to say, and I know I'm butchering that. So he made this movie called Shadow, and this movie basically is black and white, and with a very distinct gray palette. It's not technically black and white, but it's so unsaturated and gray that it's pretty much black and white. And I know he's trying to go for. He's trying to make a movie that's just as beautiful, but like kind of in black and white, and like the story is kind of about that too. But I found this movie to be confusing, boring.
Oh wow.
There was very little to no martial arts until towards the end. Maybe the second, third act. I don't know. It was just, it wasn't for me. And then the martial arts was all centered around what seemed to be metal umbrellas, which I'm not sure how historically accurate it is. And they were doing all sorts of crazy martial arts with metal umbrellas, and I had no idea what was going on. I do know what's going on intellectually. I get the plot. I'm not saying that. I just was like, wait, what? Who's this guy? What's happening? And at the end, it's like it did all make sense, but I just felt very unsatisfied. And the fights, I don't even know if there's a memorable fight in this. And so this was just kind of whatever to me. Um, so yeah, I when I think about where I'm gonna rank this movie, I have to rank it. I have to rank it above I Saw the TV Glow.
So number 16.
So right, so that would be right. So I have to rank it above that because I feel like it's well done and it does have a story and it does end. So it's like we're rationalizing this. Um, and it's like I get the vibe, I get the art style. The end didn't really make sense to me. I kind of just was left with whatever, but I still found it slightly more of an enjoyable experience than I Saw the TV Glow. That doesn't make it good. It just makes it a little bit, but they're both kind of on the same level for me, but Shadow is slightly higher, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes sense.
Oh
And
yeah.
like I was saying in my reviews, sometimes just kind of having a story helps, but beginning, middle, and end, as we like to say. But it doesn't make it good.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it good. Oh,
You got to do more than just have the story,
yeah.
So yeah. But
No,
anyway, so yeah, it was not one of the best movies I've seen this year, and I'm glad. I'm probably never going to see that again. But it was free, and it was on a whim. And I take chances with martial arts movies, because sometimes you do find diamonds in the rough. I don't know if you're going to find one this year, but we'll see.
well,
Um,
I'm going to bring that up
but
in just a moment.
but that's a story for another time. So yeah, that was the movie Shadow, 2018.
So yeah, I know you mentioned Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Hero. There was a time, obviously, when these were coming out, I was watching a lot of martial art. Not a lot. Like, I didn't get into it as much as you did, or you have, I should say, but in that area, there's a lot. But I do remember House of Flying Dragons, and I have not seen it. And weirdly enough, I think
Good.
I own it. I don't know if I got it used. I feel like it's part of my collection. So now that you mentioned how good it is, I might have to see it this year if I can get it for free. So you might have just
Bring
suggested. I
chat.
don't know if I'm going to do it next week, but
If you own it, you should watch it. That
do
should
you
be
know
the
how many
rule of
movies
this
I
of
own
these
that I
episodes.
haven't seen?
If
Which is
you
not a
own
good
it,
thing,
you
people.
should watch it. Like, let's start there. Like, if you own it, you should watch it. Like, that should be your priority. Just that's my take. Because guess what? It's already free. It's yours already. Nothing's stopping you except putting it in there
Well,
and
I
just hit
believe I
play.
own it. I gotta go look. Like it sounds familiar. Anyhow, that's beside the point. I'm pretty sure, like 99% sure, I own it. So
Ah.
maybe we'll be able to. I'll watch it soon, so we can talk about this. So you can talk about a good martial arts movie, unless you find one before I watch it. So I don't know if I'll get to it
Yeah.
next week, but I'll put it on my list. I have a lot on my list, but I'll put it on my list.
You watch the movies you own. If anybody's learning anything from this, please God,
No, it's like a
you
backlog.
have.
It's like a backlog of games. It's there. It sits there. It's pretty, but at the end of the day, it's like, I mean, yeah, I could probably. I wonder. No, I probably couldn't do this full challenge,
Like
but
games I understand because like sometimes you gotta fucking. I don't have time to play an 80-hour video game. Like, so that's gonna sit there. But you just watched like this killer movie,
oh,
and
I'm going for quality next week. I will say that. I mean, my goal is not to. I'm not going to Tubi for the shit 90 minutes. You know, not next week.
taking a break.
I need to get back into it because, like I said, I wanted to do Wings, and I liked it, but for what it's just, I
Yeah.
need a movie to put me in a good place now. That's where I'm at because I'm like, okay, I just watched these two movies, which one was good, just silent films aren't it, especially when the same music is 12 minutes. And yeah, killer movie, I'm gonna forget. That's the fact that we watched it. So, but yes, House of I do own it, so I'm gonna let you know. That's now gonna kind of be part of my list here. Don't know next week, so at least I'll bring a happy martial arts movie to you, Soto. You can just be
Hope you
happy.
like it. Imagine if you're like, hey man, I watched that movie you recommended and it sucked.
Well,
That
then
might be
we'll have
better,
a
I
lot.
guess.
We'll have a fun debate on that because you know what, that could happen too. Though I did like Crouching Tiger.
Very
I did
much.
like Hero. I mean, I know it's more comedy. I remember Shaolin Soccer and Kung Fu Hustle. I love those films.
I
So
love those.
I know it's a
Oh my
different
god, those are
style,
great.
but yeah, I mean, I love
Slapstick.
Jet Li.
Yep.
So anyhow, Soto, let's move on before we get you into a martial arts mood again. What was the final movie that you watched this week?
Well, the final movie that I watched this week, I've been looking at it for a long time. But it has a runtime of 2 hours and 23 minutes. So I was always like, when do I really want to watch this? And I just so happened to have the opportunity where I got a chance to just have the amount of time to watch it. And so I decided to watch the movie from 2021, Don't Look Up, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence, and a bunch of other people too. But this movie came out 2021, so it was like right after COVID. But this movie is a goddamn horror movie. Uh, this movie gave me so much anxiety, and I totally was just on the side of Jennifer Lawrence and Leonardo DiCaprio's character because it just gets crazier and crazier. And so the premise is you have these two scientists working out of Michigan State. The Jennifer Lawrence's character discovers a comet, and it's gets named after her. And then they start doing the math as far as where the trajectory is going to go. Leonardo DiCaprio's on a whiteboard figuring out what the trajectory is, and they both eventually come to the conclusion that this comet is going to hit the Earth directly. They then go on to try to warn the government about this, and then they're met with, skepticism and just weird politics and crazy stuff. And so it just escalates to this terrible thing where literally there's a comet. It is undeniable proof that the Earth is going to be hit with a comet that's like 10 kilometers long, which is basically bigger than the comet that hit the dinosaurs. And they're trying to tell everybody this, and they have the proof, and everybody is just either paying attention to their cell phones, or they get into reality TV shit, or just not caring. And then there's like people that are like, I'm not going to look up. I'm going to look down because I'm not going to be made to be afraid in my world and blah, blah. And Jennifer Lawrence's character is like, we're all going to fucking die in 6 months. Like, regardless of what you guys like think in politics, we're all going to die. Now, it's a comedy. So it's funny. There are funny parts, and I think it's really well done. It's directed by Adam McKay. and it's really well done. I liked it. I just felt like I had anxiety watching this, and I hate watching movies sometimes where it just you have anxiety because I will feel what's happening in the movie, and then I'll be like, oh my god, like I hate movies with bank robbers because I always side with the bank robbers and I don't want them to get caught by the police, but of course in movies they always do. And so that anxiety kind of builds up, and this movie was just as society ignores this like impending doom, um the danger gets closer and closer, and it just was, it was tough to watch, and the message was tough as well, but overall I enjoyed it. I just thought it was, again, it didn't need to be 2 hours and 23 minutes, and there are times where it dragged. I'll actually say this. I've been kind of hating on Timothy Chalamet. Is that his name? Guy from Dune,
I think
Paul
yes.
Atreides. I don't know. Tim
Charlemagne,
Chalamet.
You could be right.
Charlemagne.
I know who you're talking about.
Jake Paul. I think it's Jake Paul's his
I
name.
think
That's who it is.
I saw like Nikki Glacier say his last name sounds like something Adam Sandler would say. I don't know if you've seen that clip, but he's like Charlemagne,
Chalamet.
Charlemagne. So
Okay.
yes, I that's what I hear in my head now that you say that. But anyhow,
He was pretty good in this. Like, he had a small part, but he was good. Meryl Streep is in this. Jonah Hill basically plays Jonah Hill. Um, and overall, like, I enjoyed the movie. I don't think I'm ever gonna watch it again. It's a Netflix movie. That's not saying anything negative, but I just really don't know why I would watch this again. Especially, it's like it said what it said and it got out. And so, as far as ranking goes, this one to me feels pretty much right under Paddington and in front of Barbie.
okay. So that put it at number
Um,
12. My God, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
under Paddington.
under Paddington, above Barbie. I think I liked it
Yeah.
more as a movie over Barbie. Barbie to me was, I enjoyed Barbie. There were musical parts to Barbie, and uh, I get what Barbie was trying to do, and it was like kind of whatever. But this movie scared the shit out of me because it kind of reminded me of like real life. So it was like really terrible that this is going on, and just how kind of people act like freaking maniacs in the face of reality. But yeah, so I enjoyed it more than Barbie. We'll see if there's anything in between, but that feels right for that for this movie.
Oh, we got time. We got time. Because if you take a look at our list,
Oh,
you're at 19 movies. I'm at 20, and there's plenty more to add as we go
oh
further and
yeah.
further down
There's
this.
gonna be we have there's so much more to explore
Yeah.
about how dark and deep this is gonna go.
Oh, we're gonna
The
get
ranking
there.
is gonna be
We're gonna
terrible.
get there. I
Like
mean,
when we get to 60, 80, we're gonna be like, what the fuck? Where am I gonna put this movie?
oh yeah, I know. Just like last minute changes, maybe. It's just gonna be like, all right, maybe put it here, this and that. I
Hmm.
mean, look. It's just like the way they go. Sometimes it's hilarious. Like just quickly looking at your list, your quick 13, 14, 15, Barbie, Oppenheimer, the Peanut Butter Falcon. It's just like. I mean, you look at mine. Hold on. Let me just quickly go on my list. My 13, 14, 15. We got Terrifier, Wings, which is now there, and Tag. Who the fuck knew?
That's fucking crazy. Yeah. Here we go, man. Yeah, it's only gonna get worse from here.
It's gonna get funnier,
I
but
can't
we're gonna
wait.
do it. 200 fucking movies. So
What else? What choice do we have? Of course we're gonna do it.
yeah, because we're
Absolutely.
fucking committed to this. So, but that ends
Oh my
another
god.
episode, Soto. We are actually at 37 new movies total. Because a couple we did see
Hey.
the same. So we're about a fifth of the way there. So, you know,
Hey, not bad.
we're getting there. We'll see how this next week goes. But you know, no spoilers. But I'm going to tell you right now, I am going to watch movies that make me happy this week. Just something I know I'm going to sit and enjoy. It might not be considered the
Yeah.
best. At the end of
Yeah.
the month, I know I got Wicked. I know me and my wife. I keep saying that will probably be on my list real soon once it's available on Peacock. But yeah, I'm gonna go on. I'm not even gonna go to the shitty 90-minute Tubi horror section. I want to watch good, happy movies that fill me with joy. Because lately, a lot of these movies haven't. I mean, I think Air was the last one, which I was like, okay, I liked it, but I just need some new good movies. Killer movie, just ruined a lot for me this past week. So
Yeah, yeah. But you know what? Your wife recommended it. You know, if my wife recommended the worst movie she's ever seen and it was free, I'd watch it too. So
you should ask her. You should ask her. I mean,
I, I
you
don't.
might have already seen it. So, the advantage I had is
Sometimes I
I have
hate
not seen this movie.
it's her best movies. I hate.
That
So
is
that's
true
why I'm like,
too.
okay, so it's
But
like
you've seen it.
the
You
movies
got to
you
find
really
movies that
like.
you haven't seen. Yeah, Jill was like,
Uh,
but
uh,
her fear was that I was going to see this movie, like, and actually like it. She's like, maybe it's me. I'm like, no, this movie's shit. She's like, this is the worst. I'm like, I don't know if it's the worst movie. I even told her, I'm like, I am debating. And she looks at me and is like, how can you do that? She's like, this is how, I'm like, it's there, but it's not there.
because you've seen Sharks in the Corn, dude. You've seen Sharks in the Corn. That's why you could be like, maybe that's not the worst movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this year. Yeah, no, I've seen Thanksgiving. We've seen Thanksgiving. Anyhow,
That was, yeah, that's
anyone
another
that's listening
episode.
to this
Yep.
part of the whether it's our long or short form, I always say suggest any movie for us to watch. If it's
Yes.
free and we haven't seen it, we will see it.
Oh
Well,
my
one of
God.
us will. I will see it. We'll figure it out. I not this week because I am seeing happy movies this week. I am telling you that right now. But yeah,
Paddington 2.
Paddington. Wait, are you going to Paddington too? Is that like a spoiler right there?
No, I was just telling you to jump straight into Paddington 2.
I need the backstory, man.
I know.
Uh,
It's a lot. Yeah, no, it's a lot. I'll get there. I'll get there.
yeah. You also got the Notebook, but anyhow,
Oh
have a good
God,
one
no.
and just enjoy some movies, people.
Play.